Alrighty, so on Route 17 and 18, there is one new Pokemon that you can find, and that is Fearow. Fearow is probably one of the most aggressive normal flying type Pokemon that you can get in the game. While they are one of the most aggressive ones out there, they're also pretty frail. So if you want to have a pretty aggressive Pokemon, this is a good choice. I should also mention that it's also pretty quick. So with a decent stats such as this, it's actually not a bad idea to have. But like I said, it is pretty frail. Alright, so out on Route 12, there are several new Pokemon that you can find. Now that we've gotten the Super Route, I will only cover the ones that we have found in the areas that we've just been to, alright? So this is Psyduck. It's only exclusive to FireRed, alright? Psyduck is actually a rather decent water type. It's not one of the best ones out there, not as good as, say, Blastoise. But this one is actually pretty well balanced out for a water type. While its stats don't really suit it well, it's also pretty good at taking several hits. So I guess you could say it's sort of a double wall, I guess. So pretty good Pokemon, but think before you use it properly. Now the Leaf Green exclusive Pokemon that you can find out here is Slowpoke. Slowpoke, as its name implies, it is really slow. So what he lacks in speed is all made up in terms of defense. You didn't see anything. Nothing happened. So anyway, as I said before, while it lacks in speed, it's all pretty much made up for defense. And it also has a ton of HP, especially when it fully evolves. So, pretty interesting Pokemon, but think twice, because this is not a pretty good Pokemon that I would recommend. You guys feeling crabby? Nah, okay, never mind. I'm just pulling your leg. But anyway, this is Krabby. This is another Pokemon that is exclusive to Leaf Green. Krabby is one weird water type. Even though that has some pretty decent defense, it's also really good in terms of dealing damage in terms of physical attack wise. As you can tell by how its attack stats are arranged, this is a really good Pokemon that I would recommend, not in this generation, but in the next generation because of the physical special split that happens. So yeah, the physical water type moves didn't exist in this game, so I don't recommend this Pokemon in this game, but in the next generation, highly recommend. While fishing, and you can find these more common in FireRed, I think you could find these also in Leaf Green. But you can also find Horsey's out here. Horsey is an alright Pokemon. It's not a bad Pokemon. The only problem is you can't access its final evolution until the post-game. Its stats right here are actually rather decent. While it can take hits pretty well, it's also pretty good in terms of dealing damage to special attack-wise. So, really unique, pretty interesting. Well, it's not really that unique because there are several Pokemon that do this, but you get what I mean. It's not a bad Pokemon, but the only problem is you can't access its final evolution until the post-game. Now, for the next Pokemon that you can find out here, oh boy! We have Gyarados. Gyarados is, as its name implies, it is a really good Pokemon. Unfortunately, its physical attack moves do not exist in this game. But it is a really good damage dealer no matter what. It gets an awesome Mega Evolution in Generation 6. But yeah, really good Pokemon. Its stats right here pretty much just show on how deadly this thing is. But, like I said, its physical attack moves don't exist in this game. So, like I said with Krabby, it's a really good Pokemon that I would recommend in the next generation because it has a lot of good physical attacks. Say hello to Gloom, that drooly face of its. Ugh. But anyway, this is only exclusive to FireRed, so Leaf Green users, you get a little bit nerfed out of this one. But anyway, this one is really weird. It can evolve into two Pokemon by Leaf Stone or by Sunstone. You can't get a Sunstone in the main game, but you can get one in the post game. What it lacks in speed is all made up in terms of special attack and special defense. It's a really good Pokemon, but it's knowing how to use it properly. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Gloom. If you've gotten a Leaf Stone already, and you got one at Celadon City, I think you could get those there. You would get Vileplume. Vileplume is a really good special attacker, and it's also a really good Pokemon if used correctly. If you can get a Sun Summoner on your team and have this thing have Chlorophyll for the ability, which doubles the speed of the Pokemon in a sunlight, this thing is a monster. But if you don't plan on using a Sun Summoner on your team, I don't really recommend this one in anyone's case of my imagination. But it is a good Pokemon if you plan on using a Sun Summoner. Now, only exclusive to Leaf Green, you can find Weepinbell. Kind of the same rules apply with this pre-evolution Bellsprout. It's a decent Pokemon, and it's a really good mixed attacker if you plan on using TMs. However, if you don't plan on using it, in terms of using other attacks that I can't learn by leveling up, I don't really recommend this Pokemon at all. While its attack and special attack are almost identical, it has a really big move pool. So yeah, needless to say, it's a good Pokemon that can learn a lot of moves and actually do them pretty well. If you have a Leaf Stone in your arsenal, then you can use it to evolve it into a Victory Bell. Victory Bell is a more deadlier mixed attacker. So kind of the same rules apply with Vileplume. It is a monster if used correctly. Its stats are here pretty much just showing how much of a monster it could be. If this thing has Chlorophyll, and get that thing into a sunlight, oh boy, it'll be about as fast as an Electrode. So, use this one wisely, but it's only useful in Leaf Green. Up next, exclusive to both games, is Venonat. Venonat is a really weird Pokemon, to say the least. It's a bug poison type, means it has a crazy number of weaknesses, but yeah. Its stats right here come into question. It's not that much of a good attacker or special attacker, it's more of a wall. So, I guess you could make your choice on that, but weird fact, its evolution, even though that it can clearly fly, it can still get hit by ground type moves. I don't get it, but, shouldn't question Pokemon logic. Down on routes 13, 14, and 15, there is one new Pokemon that you can find, and that is Ditto. As its name implies, it can transform into any Pokemon that it should wish. It's also the perfect Pokemon to use in breeding. 48 across the stat board. It is not that much of a good Pokemon, but the only move that it knows is Transform, which takes the shape of any Pokemon that it sees. Well, out in battle, of course. So, yeah, if you want to use a Ditto, I only recommend this if you want to use it for breeding. Say hello to the heaviest known Pokemon in the game. So, yeah, this is Snorlax. Snorlax is a really good special wall. If you need a good Pokemon such as this, you only get 2 tries on this. Since I've already caught one, I'm not planning on using it, but it's actually a pretty decent Pokemon to have. While its HP ties that with one of my personal favorite Pokemon in this game, it's actually not a bad Pokemon to have. And as I said, it's a really good special wall, and it's a really good physical attacker. You know, the downside is it's not that good in terms of defense and speed. So, pretty good Pokemon, but not if you know how to use it properly. By the time your Bulbasaur, or Ivysaur I should say, gets to level 32, you will get Venusaur. Venusaur is one of the best special attackers and a really good special wall. If you want to have a really good Pokemon such as this, start it off with a Bulbasaur. You won't get it anywhere else unless by trading. Its stats right here are really well balanced. As I was saying when I was rudely interrupted by an ad, its stats right here are pretty well balanced. While it may not be as quick as the other starters, all of it is made up when in terms of its special usage. So, really good Pokemon, but I think a lot of people don't give enough praise to Venusaur. So, yeah, really good Pokemon. If you got your Charmeleon up to level 36, it will become Charizard, as if you guys hadn't already figured that out. Charizard is a really good special attacker, and it's also really quick. Since it gains a flying type upon its final evolution, it gets a major weakness to rock, but in return, you get an immunity to ground. While it may be one of the strongest starters out there, I personally think it gets way too much attention. So, you already know so much about Charizard, I don't really need to talk about its stats. It's there. So, if you've gotten your Wartortle up to level 36 like I did, you would get Blastoise. Blastoise is my all-time favorite water starter, and since it's my all-time favorite water starter, it deserves its Mega Evolution to be shown. So, ha! Anyway, Blastoise is a really good physical and special wall, and it's also a pretty decent special attacker. So, while it may not be as quick as say, Charizard, it's all made up in terms of its bulk. Its stats right here are really well balanced, like any good water starter. It's really, really good in terms of dealing damage to special attack, which has not failed at me quite yet. But yeah, having a really good bulky water type like Blastoise is a really good idea.